The drums and playing began to condition the grooves, and we danced vigorously as they entered the hall. Tambourines, doctors, boys and girls all danced as any normal start to the joy of decorations covering and filling it. The workers, while offering drinks to others, and I woke up with the ring of music. Let us prepare to go to the Hall of Joy. After its introduction, the mourners began to enter the Hall of Joy, and the chandelier dangled and filled a glass to enter the delightful lights. From behind, an organized person came to take the bride and groom to enter them through a large decorated door, surrounded by a group of 2 young men with candle holders decorated with satin and white Johnson. At the forefront of their requests to listen to music to keep up the joy. As usual, I cannot bear to suggest anything more than 5 points, because I get bored quickly, so I tell my friends that I will try to smoke. Try to smoke a cigarette until a care program begins, and I lit a cigarette and leaned on the golden staircase of the hotel overlooking the hall. And when the faint sounds of joy hall behind the doors beyond, tuck, 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 suddenly I was disturbed by the loud sound and loud heels blurring around and coming from below in the lobby of the hotel, creating the state of calm I was living with. And while I was in the 2nd floor, I found a turquoise dress that came from the right and the left, and its owner was lost. Because of many disorientation that made the girl dizzy, I was overcome with courage and broke my shyness. The organization decided on something that did concern me, and I called. I said to her, "From here," while I was above. She raised her head to me and to my voice. At that time, I didn't understand why I asked, but I quickly regained my senses and spoke again. I told her in a louder voice, "The joy, here! Get out of the ladder of peace in front of you. This is here." And I pointed out to her the location of the stairs leading to the joy. The girl's features were very tense, and she did not imagine them, but she was not sensitive, and it was not the first time that she saw her face clearly. But she obeyed my words and climbed the stairs in apprehension and confusion. She was looking at me as if I had hidden her, so I smiled at her to reassure her, but the interest was still in her face. And when I said the 2nd euro, I pointed at this. "You don't want that wedding from me and Osama." A strange pilgrim made me finish the cigarette because I was still in a third of it. But curiosity resisted me and made me give up the cigarette and put it quickly. Permission is at this door, and it sounds of joy that overwhelms one-time notifications whose thoughts transport me from one time to another. I entered the place, but didn't understand the amount of fake wine that filled it, and the sheen of the bride and groom as they danced together. And slow music came from its introduction. The whole hall is complete darkness except the spot where the grooms are staying. I don't see anything else after that. The light is light and the dancing songs started and the girls gathered around the bride and the boys and guys came around the groom. I danced with them and swayed and the DJ was dancing and coming out and putting him down dazzled by his songs. We were all happy and we danced differently from each other. And we were happy, but after that there was something that made me feel comfortable after the turquoise distance. I turned my head while I was dancing to celebrate, to see her in the circle of girls around the bride. But I didn't know how to find her, with only 3 or 4 of them wearing turquoise. I didn't see them and disappointed. I'm sure she entered the vicinity. It's time for the buffet and the music. I'm calming down and sharing with my companion at our table for the press, and I'm waiting for the food. I went to CJ and I'm distracted, tried in my brain only one thing. Where did she go? Where did she go? This was inside him, in front of me. This is me who consulted her on the place of joy. Isn't something wrong? A paragraph on the voice of Egypt and the waiter laying in front of me, then laying on my side. So I widened my eyes for the components of meditating on fairy and the fiction on the horizon, and seeing that what I would start with and finish with. But my eyes had a different opinion, and she wanted to look for it. So couldn't find it easier. Since we all seated and the guests with food dishes, confirms that I stand with the look at me, with a look saying, "You are going. Where are you going to put the crown? Are you problem?" I committed myself to struggle and eat of the delicious food that lay in front of me, and it smells that made the person fallen. But my brain kept busy with a friend after turquoise. With wellness, I resisted and ate the first mouthful swallowed with little difficulty. My difference was, when I swallowed, I couldn't keep the rest in the plate. So I went to the soup in order to open myself from the beginning and again. With the blink of an eye, he glimpsed after the turquoise was walking beside my table. I found the owner of the turquoise conviction, and that I directed to the place of the joy. My heart is dancing with joy. I didn't believe myself. Everything was normal again. Everything was because of her presence again. You want to eat and dance and make up for what I missed. But I pulled myself together at the last moment and smile didn't leave my face. Insisting on expressing insistence on relying on personal strength that doesn't shake. So I turned to him and grabbed the fork in my hand and said to him, "Who's this?" My friend raised his head so that he could see it and be able to answer me. But I found that his eyes popped out in his place, and the food stood in his throat, and his hand grabbed his neck, objecting to someone strangling him and consulting with him, celebrating on his back in order to catch up with him. But the sound of the party behind me turned into screaming, running, and hopping in a place that made me leave my friend because of this. And I found the groom, in fact, drowned in his blood, a bullet in his heart, and the bride and their family were around him, and the groomsmen were running and trying to escape. I turned my eyes so that I could comprehend the space. Surprisingly, I found the owner of the turquoise dress falling, and the gun in her hand, and her head contained in a red circle, from which blood was pouring, but I felt like my mind was paralyzed. Some of the guests tried to control themselves and see what they could do, and some of them were trying to understand the situation like me. I found opinions being said behind me. This is not his colleague. No, this is his companion. I saw her while she was running after him once. They loved each other. He laughed at her and took off. People used to say a lot of things, but my brain was saying something else. Why? Why didn't I stop her and ask her and rescue her and tell her that she was beautiful in her dress? Why didn't you enter in the hall with the guests? What made me stand and have a cigarette? What made me say it about the place of joy? Am I wrong? Or did my friend deserve it? Or was she the one who was stupid because she clung into an illusion? Questions and questions, marks filled my head about my late and unknown companion. In the end, I expected different endings for this situation that I got to know her and met her family, and we bonded with each other. But the ambulance and the police passed by while he was interrogating us about what happened over me from the dream that I hoped was true about the reality that I have to live with, and I always remember about her, the unknown identity.